Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Saira Mujtaba and with me is Reshma Tiwari with the Midday News. The headlines. First ever India Toy Fair inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi through video conferencing today. Toy Fair is a major step towards building Atmanirbhar Bharat, says Prime Minister. Appeals to local toy manufacturers to make toys that are best suited for ecology and child psychology. Assembly elections for West Bengal, Assam, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry to be held from 27th March to 29th of April. Model code of conduct in place in poll-bound states. By-polls for Kanyakumari Lok Sabha seat in Tamil Nadu and Malappuram in Kerala to be held on 6th of April. Counting of votes to take place on 2nd of May. Kerala, Maharashtra, Punjab, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Gujarat record upsurge in active cases of coronavirus. Home Secretary asked states and union territories to maintain caution and strict surveillance to fully overcome COVID-19 pandemic. Over 1.42 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. Prime Minister to share his thoughts in Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio tomorrow at 11 a.m. And Bhakti movement Saint Guru Ravidas Jayanti being observed across the country today. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today said the India Toy Fair is going to be a major step in the journey towards building an Atmanirbhar Bharat and strengthening the age-old traditions of the country. The Prime Minister was speaking after inaugurating the first ever India Toy Fair through video conferencing.
खिलौनों के क्षेत्र में भारत के पास ट्रेडिशन भी है और टेक्नोलॉजी भी है। भारत के पास कंसेप्ट भी है और कॉम्पिटेंस भी है। हम दुनिया को इको फ्रेंडली टॉयज की ओर वापस लेकर जा सकते हैं। हमारे सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर्स कंप्यूटर गेम्स के जरिए भारत की कहानियों को, भारत की जो मूलभूत मूल्य हैं, उन कथाओं को दुनिया तक पहुंचा सकते हैं। लेकिन इस सब के बावजूद $100 बिलियन के वैश्विक खिलौना बाजार में आज हमारी हिस्सेदारी बहुत ही कम है। देश में 85% खिलौने बाहर से आते हैं। आज हमें इस स्थिति को बदलने के लिए मिलकर काम करना है। हमें खेल और खिलौनों के क्षेत्र में भी देश को आत्मनिर्भर बनाना है, वोकल फॉर लोकल होना है।
Mr. Modi said that most Indian toys are affordable and made from natural and eco-friendly items.
रीयूज और रिसाइकलिंग जिस तरह भारतीय जीवन शैली का हिस्सा रहे हैं, वही हमारे खिलौनों में भी दिखता है। ज्यादातर भारतीय खिलौने प्राकृतिक और इको फ्रेंडली चीजों से बनाते हैं। उनमें इस्तेमाल होने वाले रंग भी प्राकृतिक और सुरक्षित होते हैं। अभी हम वाराणसी के लोगों से बात कर रहे थे। वाराणसी के लकड़ी के खिलौने और गुड़िया को देखिए, राजस्थान के मिट्टी के खिलौने देखिए, ऐसे ही पूर्वी मेदिनीपुर की गलर गुड़िया, कच्छ के कपड़ा डिंगला और डिंगली है, आंध्र प्रदेश के इटिकोपक, बोम्मलू और बुधनी के लकड़ी के खिलौने हैं।
The Prime Minister appealed to Indian toy manufacturers to make toys that are better for both ecology and psychology by using material that can be recycled.
ये खिलौने देश के युवा मन को हमारे इतिहास और संस्कृति से भी जोड़ते हैं और सामाजिक मानसिक विकास में भी सहायक होते हैं। इसलिए आज मैं देश के टॉय मैन्युफैक्चरर्स से भी अपील करना चाहूंगा कि आप ऐसे खिलौने बनाएं जो इकोलॉजी और साइकोलॉजी दोनों के लिए बेहतर हो। क्या हम ये प्रयास कर सकते हैं कि खिलौनों में कम से कम प्लास्टिक इस्तेमाल करें, ऐसी चीजों का इस्तेमाल करें जिन्हें रिसाइकल कर सकते हैं।
Mr. Modi said this first toy fair is not just a business or economic event, but a link to strengthen the country's age-old culture of sports and games. The Prime Minister pointed out that people from across the nation have done extensive researches on the toys of Indus Valley and Mohenjo-daro. Mr. Modi also pointed out that the world-famous game of chess originated in India. He added that chess was earlier played in India as Chaturang or Chadurang, and Ludo was also played as Pachisi. The Prime Minister said there is so much talent hidden in the toy industry, and this strength will be increased multifold, and the identity of the industry will be consolidated through Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign.
हमें दुनिया के बाजार को, दुनिया की प्राथमिकताओं को जानना होगा। हमारे खिलौनों में बच्चों के लिए हमारे मूल्य, संस्कार और शिक्षाएं भी होनी चाहिए और उनकी गुणवत्ता भी अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मानकों के हिसाब से होनी चाहिए। इस दिशा में देश ने कई अहम फैसले लिए हैं। पिछले वर्ष से खिलौनों की क्वालिटी टेस्ट को अनिवार्य किया गया है। इंपोर्ट होने वाले खिलौनों की हर खेप में भी सैंपल टेस्टिंग की इजाजत दी गई है। लेकिन अब देश ने खिलौना उद्योग को 24 प्रमुख क्षेत्रों में दर्ज किया है, उसका दर्जा दे दिया है।
The Prime Minister said there are descriptions in scriptures about many different forms of Lord Ram's toys. He said local toys strengthen the feeling of unity among the kids. Mr. Modi said Indian toys not only entertain but also teach complicated scientific theories in a simplified manner. Lattu teaches gravity and balance, and Gulel teaches potential and kinetic energy.
जब बच्चे लट्टू से खेलना सीखते हैं तो लट्टू खेल खेल में ही उन्हें ग्रेविटी और बैलेंस का पाठ पढ़ा जाता है। वैसे ही गुलेल से खेलता बच्चा जाने अनजाने में पोटेंशियल से काइनेटिक एनर्जी के बारे में बेसिक सीखने लगता है। पजल टॉय से रणनीतिक सोच और समस्या को सुलझाने की सोच विकसित होती है।
Mr. Modi urged the parents to play with their children and said toys do play a vital role in the learning process of children. The Prime Minister interacted with toy makers from Chennapatna in Karnataka, Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh and Jaipur in Rajasthan. He urged the toy makers from Chennapatna toy clusters who have been in the business for 200 years to try e-markets and newer ways to market their products and take their products global. The Prime Minister has made a call for the promotion of handmade in India in parallel with the thrust on Make in India as a response to the growing global demand for handmade toys.
अगर आज मेड इन इंडिया की डिमांड है तो आज हैंडमेड इन इंडिया की डिमांड भी उतनी ही बढ़ रही है। आज लोग खिलौनों को केवल एक प्रोडक्ट के रूप में ही नहीं बल्कि उस खिलौने से जुड़े अनुभव से भी जुड़ना चाहते हैं। इसलिए हैंडमेड इन इंडिया को भी प्रमोट करना है। हमें ये भी याद रखना है कि जब हम कोई खिलौना बनाते हैं तो हम एक बाल मन को गढ़ते हैं। यही उल्लास हमारे कल का निर्माण करेगा।
Speaking on the occasion, Textiles Minister Smriti Irani said the toy fair will see pavilions by 11 partner states and 100 speakers including experts and industry specialists.
It is our proud privilege today to welcome you to the first ever India Toy Fair 2021, which will see pavilions by 11 partner states, 100 speakers which amalgamate experts, industry specialists and those global leaders who are proud to partner with the Indian toy industry. From amongst 30,000 units across the country, 60 toy clusters today, Honorable Prime Minister, sir, are looking forward to your blessings.
Assembly elections in West Bengal, Assam, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry will be held between 27th March and 29th April. The counting of votes in all the 4 states and 1 union territory will take place on the 2nd of May. Chief Election Commissioner Sunil Arora announced the poll schedule in New Delhi last evening. Polling in West Bengal will be held in 8 phases on 27th March and 1st, 6th, 10th, 17th, 22nd, 26th and 29th April. Assam will go to polls in 3 phases on 27th March and 1st and 6th April. The assembly elections in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry will be held in a single phase on 6th of April.
Now I go to Kerala. All elections in 14 districts consisting of 140 assembly constituencies to be held in a single phase. 6th April. General election to Assembly of Tamil Nadu 2021. All elections to 38 districts consisting of 234 assembly constituencies shall be held in a single phase. Date of poll 6th April. Puducherry 2 districts, 30 assembly constituencies to be conducted in a single phase. Date of poll 6th April.
The Chief Election Commissioner said the Model Code of Conduct came into force with the announcement of the elections. The Election Commission also announced by-poll for Kanyakumari Lok Sabha constituency in Tamil Nadu and Malappuram Lok Sabha seat in Kerala, which will be held on 6th of April. In Assam, the Golaghat district administration has geared up with all necessary preparations for the smooth conduct of the state assembly elections. In order to create awareness about the electoral process among the electorate, extensive measures have been taken under the Systematic Voters Education and Electoral Participation Program. Official sources informed that persons above 80 years of age could cast their votes by postal ballot. Such ballots will be collected from their homes as and when required.
In the Union Territory of Puducherry, polling for 30 assembly seats will be held on 6th of April. Of the 30 assembly seats, 5 are reserved for the scheduled caste candidates. In view of the COVID-19 pandemic, the polling time has been increased by 1 hour. Our Puducherry correspondent reports that the counting of votes will be held on 2nd of May.
Following the announcement, while talking to the media persons, the Chief Election Officer of Puducherry, Mr. Surbir Singh, said that since the number of voters per booth has been restricted to 1,000 by the Election Commission of India, 607 new booths have been set up, taking the total number of booths from 952 to 1,559. Only 2 persons and 2 vehicles will be allowed, along with the candidate, for filing nominations, and only 5 volunteers will be allowed to undertake door-to-door campaign for the candidate. 154 vulnerable hamlets, 233 vulnerable booths and 16 critical booths have been identified, and around 3,098 policemen will be deployed for security, and 9,140 government staffs will be involved in election duties. All polling staffs will be vaccinated before election, and a face mask, sanitizer, gloves will be given to the polling staffs. The ceiling of expenditure has been fixed to 22 lakh rupees, he added. Chandramohan, AR News, Puducherry.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. First ever India Toy Fair inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi through video conferencing today. Toy Fair is a major step towards building Atmanirbhar Bharat, says Prime Minister. Appeals to local toy manufacturers to make toys that are best suited for ecology and child psychology. Assembly elections for West Bengal, Assam, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry to be held from 27th March to 29th April. Model Code of Conduct in place in poll-bound states. By-polls for Kanyakumari Lok Sabha seat in Tamil Nadu and Malappuram in Kerala to be held on 6th of April. Counting of votes to take place on the 2nd of May. Kerala, Maharashtra, Punjab, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Gujarat record upsurge in active cases of coronavirus. Home Secretary asks states and union territories to maintain caution and strict surveillance to fully overcome COVID-19 pandemic. Over 1,42 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. Prime Minister to share his thoughts in Man Ki Baat program on All India Radio tomorrow at 11 a.m. And Bhakti movement saint Guru Ravidas Jayanti being observed across the country today. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Midday News. The government will start administering COVID-19 vaccine to people above 60 years and those above 45 years of age with comorbidities from Monday. The preparation is underway for this phase of COVID vaccination. In view of this, the ongoing sessions of vaccination will not take place today and tomorrow in the wake of IT system transition from COVID 1.0 to COVID 2.0. The vaccine will be administered free of cost at 10,000 government hospitals to these groups, while the cost of the vaccine at 20,000 private vaccination centers will be borne by the beneficiaries. Talking to AIR News, Director, AIMS, Dr. Randeep Guleria explained the process of vaccination at government and private centers.
अभी तक वैक्सीन जो है वो हाई रिस्क ग्रुप है, जैसे हमने शुरू में कहा कि 60 साल से ज्यादा जिनकी उम्र है या 45 साल से ज्यादा है और उनको कोमॉर्बिडिटीज है उनको दिया जाएगा, क्योंकि अभी हम अगर देखें तो हमारे पास जो वैक्सीन है उसका सप्लाई और डिमांड बैलेंस होना चाहिए. डिमांड अभी काफी है, सप्लाई जो है वो अभी हमें क्लियर नहीं है कितना होगा, क्योंकि 2 डोजेज लगने हैं और हमारी देश की जनता भी ज्यादा है. हमें पहले ही अगर हम चरण में फेज 1 की बात करें और 2 डोजेज की बात करें तो हमें करीब 60 करोड़ डोजेज की जरूरत पड़ेगी.
Director in Lady Hardinge Medical College, Dr. N.N. Mathur said people should wear face masks even after administration of the COVID-19 vaccine.
मास्क तो अभी पहनना पड़ेगा. मास्क कब लगाना है और कब उतारना है या कब कोविड एप्रोप्रिएट बिहेवियर्स में थोड़ी लैक्सिटी आनी है, ये सरकार तय करेगी और वो विशेषज्ञों के साथ बैठ के तब डिसीजन लिया जाएगा. अभी हम बहुत दूर हैं उस चीज से. अभी तो हम लोगों को मास्क लगाना ही पड़ेगा, चाहे हमने वैक्सीनेशन करा भी लिया हो तब भी उसके बावजूद.
Our correspondent reports that the new phase of vaccination of age-appropriate groups will expand the COVID vaccination in the country manyfold.
Vaccination will be free of charge at the government vaccination centers. The beneficiary will have to show a photo ID document for proof of age and certificate of comorbidity for citizens in age group of 45 years to 59 years, signed by a registered medical practitioner. Those taking the COVID vaccine at any designation and empaneled private health facility will have to pay a prefixed charge. The beneficiaries will be able to self-register in advance by downloading the COVID 2.0 portal and through other IT applications such as Arogya Setu. They will also be able to choose the COVID vaccination center of their choice and book an appointment for vaccination. The private health facilities mandatorily must have adequate space for the vaccination process. They must have basic cold chain equipment for storing the vaccine vials. With Dipendra Kumar, Suparna Saikya, AIR News, Delhi.
The government today said that 6 states have recorded an upsurge in active cases of COVID-19. These states are Kerala, Maharashtra, Punjab, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Gujarat. The Union Health Ministry said Maharashtra continues to report the highest daily new cases at 8,333. It is followed by Kerala with 3,671, while Punjab reported 622 new cases. The ministry said only 6 states and UTs account for 82.3% of the new deaths. Maharashtra saw the maximum casualties of 48. Punjab follows with 15 and Kerala reported 14 deaths in the last 24 hours.
The Nagpur District Administration has imposed weekend lockdown in order to curb the rising COVID cases in the city. More from our Nagpur correspondent.
The Nagpur District Administration has imposed weekend lockdown for today and tomorrow in order to curb the rising COVID positive cases in the city. Guardian Minister of Nagpur, Dr. Nitin Raut, yesterday took a review meeting and appealed to the public to cooperate with District Administration to control the spread of virus. He also said this is not a complete lockdown. Commissioner of Police Amitesh Kumar today inspected the main squares of city. He said that people are responding well to this weekend lockdown.
सभी शॉप, एस्टैब्लिशमेंट, ईटिंग हाउसेज, ऑफिसेज सभी बंद नजर आ रहे हैं और शहर में पूरी तरीके से शांतता है. पूरे शहर में पुलिस की बंदोबस्त लगाई गई है. वरिष्ठ अधिकारी खुद रास्ते पे हैं और हमें विश्वास है कि जिस प्रकार की शुरुआती ट्रेंड है उसमें लोग खुद से ये 2 दिन की जो निर्बंध है उसको लोग पालन कर रहे हैं और ये अच्छी बात है.
Amidst this weekend lockdown, essential services are running smoothly. The daily testing and vaccination has also been on the war front in the Nagpur district. Dhananjay Wankhede for AIR News, Nagpur.
Home Secretary Ajay Bhalla has asked states and union territories to maintain caution and strict surveillance to fully overcome the COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Bhalla has written a letter to all the states and union territories after extending COVID-19 guidelines till 31st of March. He said the number of active and new cases in the country has substantially declined over the last few months, but there is a need to maintain caution and strict surveillance. The states and union territories have also been asked that containment zones continue to be demarcated carefully and prescribed containment measures to be strictly followed within these zones and COVID-appropriate behavior be promoted and strictly enforced.
The Union Health Ministry said more than 1,42 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine have been administered to beneficiaries in the country so far. A total of 7,69,000 doses of the vaccine were given to healthcare and frontline workers in the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, the country's COVID-19 recovery rate stands at 97.14%, with recovery of more than 12,000 patients within 24 hours. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu has said that the practice of online courts and e-filing was accelerated greatly during the COVID pandemic, which not only improved the ease of access to justice, but also reduced the associated costs and improved the ease of doing business. Speaking at the 11th graduation ceremony of Ambedkar Law University in Chennai today, he said that legal institutions and education must also be tailored to meet the modern demands like expertise in cybercrime, intellectual property violations, and international law.
Union Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad said the government is committed to freedom of media and rights of individuals, but it is equally concerned about safety, security, and law and order in the country. After inaugurating centenary celebrations of Patna High Court, Mr. Prasad said the commitment of government to freedom of media is complete and total, but it is equally concerned about the security and sovereignty of India. The government has released guidelines that aim to regulate social media, digital news media, and over-the-top OTT content providers. The government pointed out these guidelines empower the ordinary users of digital platforms and give them platform to seek redressal for their grievances and command accountability in case of infringement of their rights. Filmmaker Vivek Agnihotri, board member in Central Board of Film Certification, welcomed the move.
There has been a demand for a long time from parents and teachers and schools and activists to control the increasing perversion on OTT platforms. The new guidelines address it. They have created a rating system for films and they have put out guidelines where women are objectified or there is any kind of disrespect or abuse shown to women, which is, I think, a very good move. Second thing they have done is that there is an addressal system that if you have a problem, you can register your grievance and they have to, and within 24 hours it has to be registered, which is a good thing. If the common public has some problem with a program, they have now a mechanism where they can pose their grievance.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people in the country and abroad in the Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio tomorrow at 11 a.m. It will be the 74th episode of the monthly radio program. It will be broadcast on the entire network of All India Radio and Doordarshan and also on AIR News website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR mobile app. It will also be streamed live on the YouTube channel of AIR, DD News, PMO and Information and Broadcasting Ministry. AIR will broadcast the program in regional languages immediately after the Hindi broadcast. The regional language versions will be repeated at 8 in the evening.
Guru Ravidas Jayanti is being observed across the country today. His influence on Indian culture is immense, especially in North India. Bhakti movement Saint Guru Ravidas is well known for making efforts in eradicating the caste system. He was a contemporary of Kabir Das and Mirabai was a disciple of Ravidas. His importance in Sikhism is denoted by the fact that 40 of his poems were included in the sacred scripture of the religion, the Adi Granth. President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid tributes to Guru Ravidas on his Jayanti. Home Minister Amit Shah also paid tributes to Saint Ravidas on his Jayanti. BJP President JP Nadda has said that all the schemes of the Narendra Modi government are aimed at strengthening the person standing on the last mile. Addressing an event on Saint Ravidas Jayanti at party headquarters in New Delhi, Mr. Nadda said the government is bringing the poor, deprived, exploited and the Dalit into the mainstream through these schemes. He said the people should take inspiration from the life of Saint Ravidas and try to inculcate his teachings in day-to-day life.
गुरु रविदास जी के बताए रास्ते पर चलते हुए एक सशक्त भारत, समर्थवान भारत यह बनाना है और इसमें जो प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के योजनाएं हैं उनको नीचे तक फलीभूत करने के लिए काम करेंगे। यही संत रविदास जी के लिए सच्ची श्रद्धांजलि कहिए या उनके जीवन पर चलने की प्रेरणा हम सब लोग अपने साथ आत्मसात करेंगे। यही संकल्प आज के दिन लेना चाहिए।
Today is the death anniversary of revolutionary freedom fighter Chandrasekhar Azad. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu today paid tribute to the great freedom fighter. In a tweet, Mr. Naidu said, "An exceptional leader and a true patriot, Azad motivated and inspired many to join the freedom movement." The Vice President said his supreme sacrifice for our motherland will always be remembered. Home Minister Amit Shah has also paid tribute to the rebel leader. Mr. Shah said, "The sacrifice of Chandrasekhar Azad teaches us to offer everything in the service of the motherland." The Saras Ajivika Mela 2021 is underway at Noida Haat. The fair was inaugurated by Union Minister Narendra Singh Tomar yesterday. It will continue till 14th of March. The fair remains open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily. More than 300 rural self-help groups and craftsmen from 27 states are participating in the Mela, which is being organized by the Ministry of Rural Development. Addressing the gathering, Mr. Tomar said that the Ministry of Rural Development is working to include more women in self-help groups, SHGs. He said these SHGs played a vital role in increasing family income and improving quality of life. Speaking about Prime Minister's call for self-reliant India, the Minister said Atmanirbharta cannot be achieved only by government schemes and efforts. He urged the empowered SHGs to come forward and help other SHGs to become Atmanirbhar.
In Tripura, the 39th Agartala International Book Fair has begun with the theme Ek Tripura, Shresth Tripura. State Chief Minister Biplab Kumar Deb inaugurated the fair last evening at Agartala in presence of Bangladesh Assistant High Commissioner Mohammad Jawayed Hussain and other state cabinet ministers and MLAs. Addressing the gathering, the Chief Minister said, "A book fair helps in building a positive mindset among people and that ensures a positive approach for overall progress in the society." The Indian trio of Miraj Ahmed Khan, Angad Veer Singh Bajwa and Gurjot Khangura won the bronze medal in men's skeet team event at the International Shooting Sport Federation Tournament ISSF Shotgun World Cup in Cairo. The Indians defeated the Kazakhstan team of David Pochivalov, Eduard Yashchenko and Alexander Mukhamadiev 6-2 in the bronze medal match on the third competition day of the ISSF tournament. And now let's take a look at the weather update for the day. The national capital Delhi witnessed strong surface winds during daytime. Minimum temperature was around 18 degrees Celsius, while maximum will be around 33 degrees Celsius. Mumbai is having mainly clear sky with temperatures varying between 22 and 35 degrees Celsius. Chennai is witnessing partly cloudy sky. The temperature will be fluctuating between 21 and 35 degrees Celsius. Kolkata had mist in the morning and mainly clear sky later. Minimum temperature was around 23 degrees Celsius, while maximum may go up to around 34 degrees Celsius. Jammu is having generally cloudy sky with a few spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature was around 14 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 21 degrees Celsius. Srinagar is witnessing generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Minimum temperature was around 5 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 8 degrees Celsius. Leh will have a generally cloudy sky. Minimum temperature was -3 degrees Celsius, while maximum may be around 7 degrees Celsius. Gilgit is witnessing generally cloudy sky with light rain. Muzaffarabad is having generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. First ever India Toy Fair inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi through video conferencing today. Toy Fair is major step towards building Atmanirbhar Bharat, says Prime Minister. Appeals to local toy manufacturers to make toys that are best suited for ecology and child psychology. Assembly elections for West Bengal, Assam, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry to be held from 27th March to 29th of April. Model code of conduct in place in poll-bound states. By-polls for Kanyakumari Lok Sabha seat in Tamil Nadu and Malappuram in Kerala to be held on 6th of April. Counting of votes to take place on 2nd of May. Kerala, Maharashtra, Punjab, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Gujarat record upsurge in active cases of coronavirus. Home Secretary asked states and UTs to maintain caution and strict surveillance to fully overcome COVID-19 pandemic. Over 1.42 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. Prime Minister to share his thoughts in Mann Ki Baat program on AIR tomorrow at 11 a.m. and Bhakti Woman Saint Guru Ravidas Jayanti being observed across the country today. And with that, we end the midday news.